former Ambassador Nikki Haley. She's got just 4 more days to change the narrative of the Republican primary season, and she's in the Granite State, where she's right. It is essentially a 2-person race for the GOP nomination for president. And both former President Trump and Haley are on the attack, but they are taking very different approaches. Caitlin Huey-Burns is once again in Manchester, New Hampshire for us, talking to voters. Caitlin, what are you hearing?
Hey, good morning, Tony. The crunch time is on here in New Hampshire. You won't be seeing Donald Trump and Nikki Haley on the debate stage, but last night Nikki Haley did do a town hall where she kind of towed the line between criticizing Donald Trump on his policies while not making it personal, even when he did.
She's not going to make it. She has no chance. She's got no way.
If he thinks I have no chance and I have no hope, then why is he running millions of dollars of ads against me?
In New Hampshire, it's former President Donald Trump versus his former UN ambassador, Nikki Haley.
The reason he's doing this is because he knows he's not able to defend his record. He's not able to talk about why he wasn't tough enough on China when he should have, and he allowed fentanyl to come through and them steal our intellectual property and build up our military.
Haley's aiming to appeal to independent voters in New Hampshire like Don Hartnett.
I think she really needs to go after President Trump, former President Trump, more. Really a little more aggressively.
The former South Carolina governor has picked up the pace on the campaign trail, barnstorming New Hampshire to try and close the gap with Trump.
Is New Hampshire make or break for your campaign?
We got to go to my home state of South Carolina.
Florida Governor Ron DeSantis is headed to South Carolina this weekend and has all but ceded New Hampshire. But even with a narrowed race here, Haley has an uphill climb.
Can Nikki Haley win New Hampshire?
Oh, she can. Oh, there's no doubt. We want to make sure Nikki had a really strong second place.
But it does seem like second place is downplaying some expectations coming out of here.
Considering that she was in single digits a month and a half ago, and she's got second place locked up already, that's amazing. That is absolutely amazing.
Now, no fresh snow here on the ground today, but there is a flurry of activity in New Hampshire. You have Haley, Trump, and DeSantis campaigning here today. And then over the weekend, it will be Haley and Trump battling it out with some high-profile surrogates in the closing days. Dana?
All right, Caitlin, give it time for that snow. And speaking of, we go to another round of dangerous weather slamming the Northeast. In Rochester, New York, an airplane slid off the runway after touching down, forcing passengers to evacuate. Fortunately, no one was hurt. At Highmark Stadium outside Buffalo, home of the Bills, the snow is already piling up, which is why meteorologist Jordan Steele with our partners at the Weather Channel is there. Jordan, they got a playoff game coming on Sunday. Good morning.
Good morning. Yes, and of course, we have had so much snow, Dana. In fact, we've been stuck in a snow globe here in Buffalo. In fact, I want to show you a view from above Highmark Stadium that really paints the picture of how extensive the snowpack is. Here in Orchard Park, we've got plows still trying to clear feet of snow from stadium parking lots. In fact, I can hear them plowing this morning. Where I'm standing, we've got, let's say anywhere from 2 to 3 feet of snowfall as far as the eye can see, and it's going to be a lot of work, as you can see, to get all of this cleared before the game this weekend. Now, here's the thing. We've got more snow on top of this. Yes, a new system that's going to be a little bit more wide-reaching, and this one's going to be from the Ohio Valley all the way up into the Northeast. You can see the timing on that, and we could be looking at snow across parts of the I-95 corridor as well. How much? Well, in terms of totals, I'd say anywhere from between 1 to as much as 5 inches on average. But you can see we've got some bullseyes from the I-90 corridor, Cleveland to Erie, Pennsylvania, also northern Indiana. Lake enhancement is going to be the big reason that we could see maybe 1 foot to 2 feet in those spots. And if you don't have the snow, you've got the cold. Single digit feels like temps all the way into the south. But don't worry, my friends, we've got a warm-up on the horizon, Dana. Next week, temperatures will eventually move back up to above average, which I know will bring a smile to a lot of your faces.
No doubt about it. Jordan Steele, thank you.
A scathing new report on the Uvalde school shooting is leading to new demands from the families of the victims. They want criminal charges for what prosecutors call the, quote, cascading failures of the police response that day when a gunman killed 21 people at Robb Elementary School, including 19 children. Lilia Luciano has been covering this tragedy since it happened, and she is back in Uvalde today. Lilia, you've been digging into that report. Good morning.
Good morning to you, Vlad. Look, the families here tell me that they know from day one that their children were failed, but they hope that the details in this report with names and a timeline of bad decisions will at least bring some community together about who's to blame. Nearly 400 law enforcement officials swarmed Robb Elementary that tragic day, but a new Justice Department report found critical failures in leadership, communication, and training in the response to the mass shooting that killed 19 children and 2 teachers.
Had the law enforcement agencies followed generally accepted practices, lives would have been saved and people would have survived.
After the first responding officers were grazed by bullets and retreated, tactics shifted under the command of former school district police chief Pete Arredondo, from those used to deal with an active shooter situation to a barricaded subject, a critical misstep according to the report. The DOJ found 10 events within the span of 1 hour that should have driven police to immediately stop the killing.
Can you tell the police to come to my room?
And a total of 45 rounds while the officers took cover in the hallway. At one point, Arredondo says, "Time is on our side right now. I know we got kids in there, but we gotta save the lives of the other ones."
Time is not on the side of law enforcement. Every second counts. That failure meant that law enforcement officials prioritized a protracted evacuation of students and teachers in other classrooms, instead of immediately rescuing the victims trapped with the active shooter.
Associate Attorney General Vanita Gupta led the review.
What would you say is most damning and unique of what went wrong?
The kind of abject lack of leadership during those 77 minutes didn't end at 77 minutes. You had families who were told by officials that there was going to be another bus of survivors coming and gave them such false hope that maybe this bus would come and they would see their child walk out of it alive.
I was actually in lockdown at my school.
Jasmine Cáceres' sister, Jackie, was killed in the massacre.
So you were in your school thinking that it was fine, that your sister was safe. What is it like to be in this community and see those faces?
I mean, it's tough. These are faces I've known growing up, and then to know that they failed my sister.
The goal of the report from the DOJ is to learn lessons for the future and, of course, to honor the victims. But the hope among the families is that it'll also pressure the local DA to prosecute crimes and finally release her criminal investigation. Dana.
All right, Lily, I know they say time heals, but in this one, it feels like those wounds are still so raw. Thank you. There is possible trouble for the Georgia prosecutor in President Trump's 2020 election interference case. District Attorney Fani Willis has been accused of being in a romantic relationship with a prosecutor she hired. The claims were made by one of Trump's co-defendants, and now the judge has ordered a hearing to address it. A motion filed last week seeks to remove Willis and Special Prosecutor Nathan Wade from the case. Nicole Killian has the district attorney's response.
As a woman of color, it would not matter what I did. My motive, my talent, my ability, and my character would be constantly attacked.
District Attorney Fani Willis broke her silence this week at an Atlanta church, accusing critics of racism amid accusations that she had an improper relationship with Nathan Wade, a special prosecutor she hired to lead the 2020 election interference investigation into former President Trump.
Is it that some will never see a black man as qualified, no matter his achievements?
The allegations were made in a filing this month by co-defendant Michael Roman, a former Trump campaign operative who pleaded not guilty to 7 felony counts for his role in an alleged fake elector scheme. His attorney wants the charges dismissed and suggests, without citing evidence, that Willis not only had a romantic relationship with Wade, but financially benefited from it. The complaint alleges the pair became involved before the case and says Wade filed for divorce a day after taking a contract with the DA in November 2021. Since then, it alleges Wade has been paid more than $653,000 for his work by Willis's office and used some of the money to take Willis on lavish trips to such places as Napa Valley, California, Florida, and the Caribbean. Willis says the 2 other special prosecutors were paid the same hourly rate.
Her boyfriend, she gave him $1 million to go get Trump, right? and then they go on vacation.
Trump says the case against him should be dropped, while some Republicans have called for an investigation.
This is not what the prosecution needed.
CBS News legal analyst Ricky Kleeman says whether the charges are proven or not, there could be consequences.
I do not expect this case to be dismissed and go away, but it is not out of the question for a different prosecutor to take charge of the case to simply remove the appearance of impropriety.
Willis has been subpoenaed to appear in Wade's divorce case next week, and her attorney accused Wade's estranged wife of conspiring with interested parties in the Trump case to embarrass her. Willis has not confirmed or denied a relationship with Wade. A Fulton County judge has asked Willis to respond to the allegations by February 2nd. Vlad?
I'll take it, Nicole. Thank you very much. We're going to turn overseas now, where Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is now publicly rejecting U.S. calls for a Palestinian state in Gaza and the West Bank, even after Israel's war with Hamas is over. He calls it a permanent security threat. It's another sign that the U.S. and Israel have major differences over the conduct of this war and what to do after it. Meanwhile, American warships in the Red Sea continue to strike targets in Yemen in response to missile attacks from Houthi rebels there. And Charlie Daggett visited the USS Bataan, one of the Navy ships patrolling the region, hoping to protect against a wider war.
Good morning. We're on the eastern Mediterranean Sea, which Israel, Gaza, and Lebanon all share a coastline with. It's the reason this ship and the Marines on board are here to deal with whatever crisis may unfold in this ever-widening conflict. For the troops of the 26th Marine Expeditionary Unit out of Camp Lejeune, North Carolina, the USS Bataan has been home for more than 6 months and counting.
The USS Bataan had been in the Red Sea. It was then shifted to the Mediterranean because of the circumstances in this region. And now it's been deployed indefinitely. 4, 5, 3, 1, feels clear.
An amphibious assault warship and a workhorse with a short flight deck capable of launching Harrier fighter jets. The Bataan and its sister ships have been called the Marine and Navy Swiss Army knife because of their versatility. Jets take off into the pitch dark overnight, a show of force, part readiness exercise to keep pilots and crews sharp. All this maintenance underway and the takeoffs, that's not a drill. That's in direct response to the events unfolding throughout this region, not only as a deterrent, but ready to act if called upon. Ship-to-shore land and sea assault teams that includes a full contingent of roughly 4,000 U.S. Marines and sailors across the deployment. More than 6 months. Getting a bit homesick?
I am. Going out, with friends and spend time with family, have my wings and pizza when I get back.
They're in it for the long haul, even if nobody's quite sure how long that haul will be. Overnight, Houthi leadership threatened that retaliation for American and British attacks is inevitable. For CBS Mornings, Charlie Daggett aboard the USS Bataan on the eastern Mediterranean Sea.
Hey, NFL playoff time, divisional round, 8 teams remaining. 3 of them, the Bills, the Texans, and the Lions, have never won a Super Bowl. Dana's going to break it all down for us. Let's talk Bills, Kansas City.
Yeah, people are wondering, is this finally the time the Bills can beat the Chiefs in the postseason in the Mahomes-Allen era? I'll tell you this, Patrick Mahomes has won the previous 2 meetings, but remember, those were both in Kansas City. It's the first time, his first true road playoff game, which means you don't count the Super Bowl in it. Buffalo won their regular season meeting this year in Buffalo. That's part of the reason why they're hosting this game. And I'll point this out. Patrick Mahomes, road games versus home games, his touchdown to interception ratio, you don't want to give the ball away. He's got 8 interceptions that he's thrown on the road compared to 6 at home. 2 more in fewer games. You never know. Anything can happen. And, Tony, you mentioned it. Josh Allen, so athletic in the last game that people often forget about. So watch out for them at home.
All right, let's talk about Ravens taking on the Texans. They both had a bye week last week. What are you looking for?
Well, the Ravens had the bye week. The Texans had to play to get here. The Ravens are the favorite on the AFC side, obviously. And they've got the MVP candidate in their quarterback right now, Lamar Jackson. But he is 1-3 in the postseason. Remember that, something to keep in mind. So Lamar Jackson's going to try to prove his MVP season was worth it. The Ravens defense, top of their game. But the Texans have a Rookie of the Year candidate, if not the winner, in C.J. Stroud, their quarterback. They played in week 1. C.J. Stroud was not good. He was sacked 5 times. He's going to have to watch out and do better against that pressure in this one.
All right, Dana, thank you very much. You can catch all the divisional round games starting tomorrow.
I think we want to go to the NFC side. Tony is forgetting about my Lions. I'm just going to go there. All right, NFC side.
He's totally shading you.
NFC side on this one. Before I get to the Lions, you've got the 49ers, who are the favorites on the NFC side to win. They had the bye last week.
Right.
The 49ers are going to take on the Packers. The Packers shocked everybody last week with their win. Wild card team that got into this one. And they've got an incredible quarterback in Jordan Love. Jordan Love, 21-1 touchdown to interceptions in the since week 11.
Wow.
That's incredible, insane. But don't forget about Brock Purdy, who was so incredible last year till he got knocked out with the elbow injury. So we'll watch on that one. I still say the 49ers will be going against my Lions.
Bucks.
My Lions, because the Lions and Bucks are facing off. Lions won their first playoff game in 30 years last week. They can win their first 2 playoff games since the 1950s. They are an explosive team on offense. They beat the Bucks earlier this year. Do not count out Baker Mayfield. He's having an incredible time. Looks like he's having a lot of fun out there. The Bucks receivers have a lot of experience on their side. But I'm telling you, so electric in Detroit. Lions, baby, NFC Championship.
I'm so glad we got that in, Dana. That was incredibly impressive. You can tune in to all the divisional round games starting tomorrow. And, of course, we'll bring you the Chiefs-Bills Sunday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern, right here on CBS and streaming on Paramount+.